Christmas is like so many people's favorite time of the year and the biggest holiday on our calendar. But you might be wondering also, like, where did it come from? And is it all really true? Now, you're probably already familiar enough with the Christmas story, but we're going to have a deeper look at it today. And this video is going to be the first one of a series of two. Hopefully you'll learn something new in these videos, and then you can really wow your family and friends over Christmas by telling them. So you're welcome. So the word Christmas comes from two words. The first word is Christ, and it comes from the Greek word Christos. This word comes from an even older word from the Hebrew called Messiah, meaning anointed. And Mass comes from the Latin Missa, which is actually what we still use today, the celebration of the Eucharist. It's where we get our word for, like, Sunday Mass. So Christmas means, well, Christ's Mass. And just so you're aware, Christ is not Jesus' surname. It was his title. So his name was Jesus the Anointed, or Jesus the Messiah. So that's where the name came from. And what about this anointed one, this Christ? Well, was he actually born on December 25th? The answer to that is we don't really know, but probably not. And you might be kind of annoyed at this, and why do we celebrate it on the 25th? But it's actually not that unusual. You see, Jesus was born into a regular family over 2,000 years ago. And if you consider that Ireland's greatest ever High King, Brian Boru, was born 900 years after that, and we don't know the day of his birth either, it's not an unusual thing. Well, even though many scholars over many years have tried to figure out when Jesus was born through looking at texts or even at the stars in the sky, why did people decide to settle on December 25th? Well, again, we're not 100% sure. Loads of ideas have been put forward as to why people chose December 25th as the birth of Jesus. Some say it was to coincide and kind of like overpower pagan festivals that were going on at the same time. Others claim it was probably to mark the winter solstice, and there's no more fitting time for the light of the world to be born than like at its darkest time. And others still claim it was maybe 9 months on from the Annunciation, but then that brings up into loads of questions of, well, how do you date the Annunciation? So the answer to why did they choose December 25th is, well, we don't know exactly why, but there's loads of potential reasons why. Eventually, over hundreds of years, people did consistently start celebrating Jesus' birth on December 25th. It seems that people in Europe wanted a really pleasant celebration to help them get through the dark winter months. And what better celebration to have than the birth of Jesus? Personally, I'm not too pushed about what day of the year Jesus was born. I'm just glad that he was born, and I think any day of the year chosen to celebrate that is as good as any other. So if we don't know when the actual story takes place, then what do we actually know? Well, you may or may not know that there are 4 books that detail the story of Jesus' life. And these books are found in the Bible, and they're called Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And they're known as the Gospels, which is the good news. Now, the good news is that Jesus is the Son of God, died for our sins, and he rose again. But what you may find interesting is out of these 4 books, only 2 of them actually tell the story of the birth of Jesus. Now, there can be a few reasons for this. One reason could be that the story of Jesus' birth and Jesus was widely known by the time these authors sat down to write their books, which was about 20 years afterwards. So there's no need to go back over stuff people already know. Another point may be that the main story of Jesus is not his birth, it's his self-sacrifice and his resurrection from the dead. So the chances are that the authors prefer to focus more on this than his birth. These books also originated as letters, and these letters would have had specific audiences in mind. So they've only included relevant information to each specific audience. The 2 books that deal with the birth of Jesus are Matthew and Luke. And on that last point, it seems to be clear that both Matthew and Luke were writing to very different audiences. Matthew seems to be writing to more of a Jewish audience, and his book seems to point to the fact that Jesus was their long-awaited Messiah. Luke seems to be writing to a non-Jewish audience, a Greek or Gentile. Luke wants his audience to know that yes, Jesus is the Son of God. He is God in the flesh, but he's also a person too, just like us. So neither of these 2 accounts actually say the day or the month that Jesus was born in, but what they do say is who was the king or the emperor at the time, because their audience would have known who the emperors or the kings were and would have known when Jesus was born then. So the only 2 accounts we have of the birth of Jesus don't actually tell us when he was born, but they do tell us what happened when he was born, and we're going to find out what they say in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something new that you can tell all your friends and family over Christmas dinner. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.